Hello friends, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. This is NRI Samai, live from Los Angeles. Friends, welcome to today's show, and today we are honored to have a fascinating person, a very strong, committed woman, very well educated, a public servant by choice, and a person who treats politics as a noble profession to serve the citizens. And she is Nisha Singh. Nisha Singh is right now a councillor from Ward number 30, Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon. And she has very interesting background, my friends. She did her schooling from Delhi Public School, New Delhi, engineering in electronics and communications from Mumbai University, and her MBA from London Business School. She worked as well in corporate sectors in many companies like Siemens and Google. I've noted down the major companies that she worked for, which is Siemens and Google. And over the last few years, she's been investing her time, skills in the field of social development. And she strongly feels that providing quality education to children is key to eradicating poverty and many ills that follow with it. So we have Nisha with us live right now. And Nisha, it's a great honor to have you on our show. And as NRIs, we feel very strongly connected to you, as you were an NRI earlier, and you're definitely an inspiration to all of us, as well as to a lot of our overseas Indians around the world. Welcome to our show, Nisha.
Thank you, Shrikant. I am also very honored to be on your show today.
Thank you very much. Now, Nisha, close to 1 year in mainstream politics, how do you feel?
Okay. It's a mixed bag, Shrikant. There are days when I feel quite satisfied and quite encouraged. There are days when I feel quite frustrated and low. So it depends on how the initiative that I'm pursuing or trying to find a solution to, what kind of obstacles I face. It's not very easy working with government departments.
True.
And so yeah, it's always a mixed bag. I think the good thing that really keeps me going is the kind of encouragement that I get from all around from the citizens of Gurgaon. So, yeah.
Nisha, on NRI Samai, we have interviewed people like Bala Saheb Darade, who was an NRI working for NASA, and then he went back home while Anna's movement is at its helm, and then he contested for the BMC elections, and he won the election as well. Also, we did with Chavir Raja January 1st, 2012. We started off our shows in 2012 with a fascinating person as well. All of them have contested as independents. So I'm just wondering, good people contesting as independents, what is this phenomenon? What do you think is going on in people who strongly feel that politics need a change? They're contesting as independents and not as not aligning with any mainstream parties. So what do you think is going on?
Shrikant, this is the answer to this is very simple. People like me, I have contested independent as well, are almost getting into the field of politics because they are dissatisfied with the kind of politics that is happening in our country, and they don't identify with the politics of the mainstream parties or even of the regional parties wherever they might be. There are regional parties in Haryana also. And they are saying that, here I am perfectly capable of, solving some of the issues that I see all around me. And I'm going to give this a shot because politics is probably the most effective way to bring about change. And, with that kind of a thought process, you want to connect directly to the people as yourself.
Right.
And I think that's what people are doing.
Oh, okay. So, seems like you don't have any political backdrop, nor your family has got any backdrop, even remote connections. So, what's this transformation from a corporate world to a counselor? So, how do you feel about it?
I was working. My last job was with Google, but it's been almost 4 years since I left that job. And at that time, when I left it, it was not to be in politics. At that time, it was to give, my time and skills to the area of education for underprivileged children. While I was at Google, I had started getting exposed to that area at that time itself. And then I had the flexibility to say that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to put my time and make a difference. Fortunately, I had that kind of flexibility. I think a lot of people feel very strongly about different causes, but we not always have that kind of flexibility to take that step. So I took that step. I left my job, and then I was, as I said, I was volunteering in the area of education for underprivileged children. And my becoming a counselor, my standing for elections it was one of the, I never really thought a lot about it. It wasn't like, very planned or anything like that. It was very simple. It was just based out of that, municipal corporators or councillors are responsible for the civic amenities in their area.
Right.
So those were in a pathetic state in my city. I saw these elections as an opportunity to make a difference by becoming part of the system that handled these or was responsible for these for this infrastructure. People around me, when I would just sort of share my thoughts that I'm thinking of contesting these elections, whether it was to my family or to people around me, I was encouraged a lot, and that's how it happened. So it was not very planned. It was out of a need. There was a need for somebody like me to take this on, and this need is all over actually in almost all parts of our country right now.
Oh, great. So do you have references of any other people whom you're seeing, Nisha, like some people who got inspired, who were fed up of this civic amenities being really bad around them? So do you have any references of other people that who are working on the similar lines, who has contested, who has made some difference? Do you know some people?
Yeah, Shrikant, this kind of movement, we can call it the civil society movement or the citizen groups trying to get involved with the local governance and contesting elections at the municipal levels is becoming more and more common in most of the major cities. What we haven't cracked as of now is winning. Yes. So it's very often, in Gurgaon also, there were some very, very good candidates in many different wards who were actually experts at urban development or urban planning by their professions in the private sector. And one would think it's a no-brainer, right? Like somebody like this wants to stand for elections and work for your city, you just go and vote for them. Right. So that's happening. There are people who are saying we want to do this. They're going up and standing for elections, but they are not winning these elections. Right. The instances that I have more of are people who tried but did not make it. Okay. Some of the names that you just took are, the more well-known names. That's correct. Yeah. Right. It seems like people are putting an immense faith on these youngsters who are jumping into the foray and then trying to contest. I've seen people who have contested, who have been the contestants in the ward that you have won. So
what's making people feel, or what is making them feel that they should vote for people like you? You've gone door to door, you've interacted with people. What is this resonance from the people? And I'm seeing the phenomenon. As I said, I've taken some names of people who have contested and won. But honestly, we at NRI Samay have been searching for people who have made some difference in the political foray and then contested and won. And I'm seeing a lot of them have won. That means there's a transformation going on in people's mind that they want these people to win. What do you think is basically connecting these people with youngsters like you?
Yeah, this. I think the whole India Against Corruption movement has woken up people. These are thoughts that we were having for many years, where we were saying that our leaders are not up to mark in terms of their competence. The kind of politics they do is not good for the city or the state or the country, and the results are there for all of us to see. So this thought was there in people's mind. With the ISC movement, I think people got a chance to do something about it. So they came out on the streets and they talked about corruption and corruption not only in government organizations, but political corruption also.
Right.
So I think that was one movement. That is one movement which has gotten people to act beyond just thinking. As I said, they were already, Indians are having that thought that we need to clean up our system. We need to have more capable people in the parliament running the show. But this movement, I think, has been a great impetus, and probably that's the reason that, as you said, you've seen more and more people contesting and also winning. Though I think we are still far from being able to sort of break the traditional ways of contesting elections, or rather find a solution to that. So your caste politics, at a bigger level, always plays a huge role. Religion is always a factor for people, and all the wrong methods that somebody like the kind of people you mentioned wouldn't even, that's the thing that they're standing against. So they wouldn't resort to those methods. So they want to change the way the game is played, and that's what they are trying to do. But these factors are important, slowly diminishing, but still remain important, especially when you go more and more into the sort of the rural areas of bigger constituencies. Cities, I think people are rising above these considerations when they're voting.
Right. You mentioned few things about civil society movement, IAC movement, and tying them to politics. I'll come to that very soon on that. It's a very interesting story. Yours is a fascinating story, like from likes of Siemens, Google, to Gurgaon politics. Do you share any similarities? I don't know if any. Are there any similarities between these professions, or difference between these professions? Can you throw some light on that front to our listeners, Nisha?
They are very different.
Different breed. Yeah.
Completely different from each other. Politics is unstructured. That is the biggest difference is that when you're in a corporate setting, you have a structured environment around you. You pretty much have 6 monthly or quarterly goals. You are told what is expected from you to a large extent. You have a system that is meant to achieve those goals. There's a lot of structure in the corporate world, and another thing that is distinct in the corporate world is that you're measuring yourself.
Right.
You are very conscious of how you're performing, or where you want to go next, or what is going to take you there.
Right.
Politics is like the whole day is not structured at all. And however much I try to put structure into it, because that's the only way I can sort of deal with the massiveness of the issues that I face.
Right.
It's not possible. It's not possible. There's a lot of people interaction that you need to do. There's a lot of and all this people interaction is not always about or does not always help in your work, the actual work that you do. But it's necessary. People want to talk to you. They want to hear you. And though I try to use all the social media so that they can hear me in a group.
Right.
But then still there are phone calls, there are emails, so you have to respond to them individually. That takes up a lot of the time. So that brings in a lot of, as I said, you want to bring some structure, but all these meetings that you do or invitations that you get take up a lot of the time. Also, it's I think, I might say, okay, I want to set all the roads right in my ward within the next 6 months. That's only my goal, okay? Nobody else in the system who will help me in achieving this goal. It's not their goal, right?
Right.
So you are sort of without a timeline which is realistic or which you can achieve. You're pushing, and trying to do the best within the system. Sometimes you're challenging them. Sometimes you are just saying, okay, let's just do it the way you do it, because you just don't understand the way I want it, kind of a thing. So it's a lot of what should I say? I think that's the same thing about not having structure in the way politics is done.
Right. And I'm honestly, looking at you, it needs a lot of courage to transform yourselves from one profession to another profession. It's not so easy. What did you feel is one quality that's needed to make it to politics, or even sustain in politics? There should be some basic quality. Like I'm trying to connect our listeners. If they get a sense of what kind of quality is needed to basically jump into politics and as well sustain in the politics. What do you think is that?
Shrikant, that's one thing that I have sort of realized over time, that there is, there's the politics that you do, that a politician needs to do. And then there's the work that you should definitely do because you've been elected to do that.
Right.
It is, if you look at the Gujarat example, if you look at the Bihar example, these two are converging. People are saying that you deliver on these fronts, and that's when you will get those votes. But it's not always like that, or you're not completely there, right? So if you want to be a good politician, there are different qualities, and if you, you should be a good politician because if you don't do the politics, I guess the next time around you are going to find you find it difficult to win an election.
Right.
And the work that you do, if it's not getting you votes automatically, then that's also a problem. So the qualities I think that are required is knowing that these two unfortunately are still different. And also, and not necessarily adopting anything wrong, not necessarily adopting any wrong methods. not trying to propagate caste politics. I mean, these are things that, I am standing against. So I'd never, though they are good politics,
Right.
I would never resort to those. But at least knowing that, these are the things that you have to counter, or that, what can counter it.
Right.
So that's important. I think it's important to be a leader because people want to follow you. Okay, they look up to you, and when you're a politician, they look up to you if they've elected you, and they want you to be the strong person, and they want you to have the solutions. So you have to be a leader, a thought leader, and also you have to lead by example. That's one thing that's very, very critical. Having integrity, of course, is very important.
Right.
Because there are a lot of bad sort of you are in a very not in the most clean environment all the time.
Yes. Yes.
So personal integrity, where people you have a reputation which stands out and tells people that you are different. And I think a lot of patience is very important because things move slow and they don't always move in the way as I said, the structure is not there. So you need to be very patient with, and you're interacting with a whole lot of different types of, people on an everyday basis. So being patient is, again, very important. Having a clear, idea of what you want to achieve is also very important. I mean, the basic intellect of
Right.
having a goal for your constituency and then going towards this is another skill that is required. Being organized is, imagine the with all the diverse kind of activities that you do in a day. You need to be able to time yourself very well. I think that's also very important.
Right.
So I think these are the qualities.
Yeah. And when you contested the election, you had some people who were as well contesting along with you. What did they feel about this? It's like totally. I don't think they would have ever imagined that somebody like Nisha Singh will come and contest and then pose a challenge, right? What was the mood and the situation on ground when you were actually in the foray and then going around people, going door to door? What did they feel and what did you feel about them? Can you share a little experiences? It's really a nice thing to really recap this whole process, right?
How did the other contestants feel, or
Yeah,
how did
that's correct.
people in general feel?
Yeah, I was wondering about the contestants, right? So for the contestants, it's a shocker. It's like a bomber. They don't really understand why Nisha Singh is contesting. What's this going on together, right?
Yeah, I think I don't know how what they thought, but they are also kind of hardened. I think people sort of. They know that this is not our type, and this is not the type that does politics anyway, so she probably doesn't have a chance. What does she think going around, sort of campaigning? They didn't think I was a serious contender. After some time, there was a lot of positive news about me among the voters. Mm-hmm. And that's when I think the other contestants started taking seriously, and still I think a lot of them were very surprised when I won.
Right. Very good. Yeah, and coming to a little bit into this politics and the way things are working there. Generally, for a ward election, for the councillor elections, there will be very less time given. So a lot of people, though they have strong intention to go back, contest as municipal chairman or ZPTC or MPTC or ward councillor, the biggest challenge for them is whether that ward elections will happen, the first thing. Second thing, if it happens, whether it is given to women or it goes to a reservation or whatever it is. And the third most important thing is there'll be very less time. It'll be like in Andhra Pradesh, it's like they'll be given 15 days or 20 days notice, and then they'll have to jump into it. And most probably these traditional political parties will make it to the winning arena because they have more bandwidth and they have more visibility. So how are you able to cope with this? There's very less time given, and it's the biggest challenge. So how did you get over this problem?
Yeah, so see, this is what, it pains me when I see, even in the MCG elections are slated for 15th of this month. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm sort of involved in the sense that I get emails from the group, from a citizens group, which is also putting up candidates. And it pains me to see that, these are people who have just taken this decision, say, just like 15 days ago. So overall, they just had like a month to put themselves in front of the voters. In my case, I actually launched. You just said that you don't know when the elections will happen. For a whole period of time, there's a lot of uncertainty when they'll happen. So, but I had my first, the day I put my website up was I think the first week of October. And my actual elections happened on 15th of May. So I campaigned for good 6 months.
Oh, very good.
And that is very, very important for a candidate who is an independent candidate, who is a citizen's candidate. Because, when any election happens, people automatically ask who is the Congress candidate, who is the BJP candidate, or maybe another one or two other parties, right? They'll at least try to know who they are, even if they have not directly come in, or they haven't. Of course, the posters will be there.
Right.
So that inquisitiveness is already there. You are an independent. Nobody knows you unless you have been in the social field for long enough and you've been working in that ward. So of course, then people would know you, and then I guess you are at par with at least in terms of getting the recognition with other parties. But otherwise, if you've not been specifically working in this area, then you need time. You need to get your message to the people, and 15 days or 1 month is not enough for that. So that's when it pains me that they will, though they are the best candidates, or people will actually would want to vote for them, it's just that their message will not even reach the entire ward.
Right.
So you are right. You require much more time than what if you are a citizen's candidate or an independent candidate. Much more than what a traditional party candidate requires.
Right.
That is one of the reasons why we don't make it.
Yeah, good 6 months. That's something I like, because people will have a choice. They know whom to pick, right? So that's very, very important. Yeah, most of these
very important.
Very important. Most of the citizen candidates lose because their visibility is really less. Though they have strong leadership skills, though they can deliver it, but people don't even realize that such and such candidate exists. So that's the problem. Yeah. And
exactly.
And I'm fascinated reading your story, because I've been digging yesterday night on what Nisha Singh is all about and what's her backdrop, what she does. And I've followed through this because Suresh was the one who patched in your connection, and then I started going through your profile. I was really interested, and I was seeing that you represent a village that has few villages. Of course, you represent a ward that has at least a couple of villages that are very low on literacy level, low on sanitation and development, and you're more into tech sector, into corporate world. Wherein your campaign reaches out to one section of people, honestly, very quickly. So you're saying that your 6 months good time that you had, you're able to reach out to each of these people and convince them to vote? How did that work, the process of reaching out to people who don't even have the right communication medium to really reach out to them?
Yeah. So so the urban villages, as we call them, the ones that are in cities like Delhi or Gurgaon, are not your typical villages. Okay, so they are not bad in sanitation, not the way you think of a remote village. They are also not low on education. So it's not true that they are backward completely.
Right.
But yes, they are not so much on the internet, and some of the younger kids might be even there. But of course, social media doesn't work there, email doesn't work, or websites don't work much. So there you have to do that, the door-to-door, the organizing meetings, and the traditional way of doing things, reaching out to somebody, asking them to arrange some sort of a get-together. That's what works there. In cities, it's always the urban population which is much more than the village population. Village population is usually 20% or 25% of a ward. Now the problem is that the urban population, a lot of it is migratory, which means we are in cities and we don't really think that we are going to stay here, or we don't connect with the city, so we don't even bother to get our votes made, voter IDs, or get our votes registered. So that section of people doesn't participate in elections anyway. Then there is a section of people which has got their voter ID cards made for reasons like it's useful as a address identification, or as a ID identification, or
right.
at the airport to board a flight. Now it's changing. It's not that bad. I think this trend is changing. We are more and more realizing that we need to vote. But in these village areas, there was in Gurgaon 95% voting. Everybody who was eligible to vote voted.
Wow.
And votes every time in any election.
Wow.
In the urban areas, in a municipal election especially, a Bombay or a Delhi would see max 40% people voting, the voters who are registered, who will go out and vote.
Right.
So,
DMC is best example.
Yeah, and in Ward 30, the reason I won, the votes that I got were from mostly from the urban population, which I think connected more with me.
Oh, okay.
The voting percentage among the urban voters was 53% voting. That's the thing that we have to, we need, like these candidates like me need, that people come out and vote. If they come out and vote, they will vote for you. It's just that they don't bother to come out and vote. And most of the time they are disillusioned, right? They are saying, okay, these candidates that I see, these big party candidates, none of them seem worth it. I just won't take part. But if you have 6 months and you've got your message across, then they will come out and vote. I mean, there are people who told me after elections that I had to go out of station, but I postponed it by a day so that I could vote for you.
Wow.
Somebody tells me I came back in time so that I could vote in these elections.
Wow.
The people really, really, are looking. There's this demand in our country for good people to contest elections, at least in the cities. I mean, I think demand is there all over the country. It's just that for us to reach out in cities is easier because we want to use social media, which is cheap also. Now you don't want to throw a lot of money in an election. You can't. You don't have supplies of money. You will you'll use the cheapest ways to reach out, and social media. I mean, who are the people who are on social media?
Right.
So that's the urban voter and rural voter story in cities.
Wow. Wow. Very well put in, Nisha. It's like these words are valuable. Demand for good people in politics. Making politics, clean politics. Wow, very nice. Very well put, Nisha. So friends, This is NRI Samay live from Los Angeles, and we have today Nisha Singh, a fascinating person, a very strong, committed woman, and a public servant by choice. And she's treating politics as noble professions and as a profession, and she's serving the citizens in Gurgaon. So for all of you who are listening to Nisha, and I'm sure you're getting some valuable inputs. And as I said, all the civil society movement and other things have motivated a few NRIs and few people in the corporate world to come forward and contest and do their part to the society. So very well put, Nisha. I like these words, like demand for good people in politics. Like people should treat this as a profession. What do you think?
Not entirely possible, Shrikant. I think, well, at least, okay, at the MLA and the MP level, still the salaries are good, and you have, you can be a politician and still, a clean politician and still lead a good life. In the sense, of course, the house and the telephone bills and the transport is what you get. But at the local elections, the local levels, which is your municipalities and panchayat, my salary is 1,500 rupees a month.
Oh my!
That's it. No allowances.
Wow.
So it's a pure service. I mean, it's purely a service, not a profession, not a career.
Wow. Very. 1,500 rupees, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any other facilities, or it's just a rock bottom 1,500 rupees that comes? Nothing.
That's it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing else. It's not that bad in Delhi or Bombay. I think there are salaries and phone phone allowances and transport allowances which councillors get. But this is the story in any smaller municipality or most municipalities. I mean, some of these, Delhi and Bombay are very old and advanced, and I guess they have more mature systems.
Oh, okay, okay. And Nisha, I've been watching you as a very strong reporter. We've been talking about IAC movement, civil society movement, and citizen-centric politics. So, and I've been watching you as a very strong supporter of Anna Hazare. I've seen your pictures, which depict a million words that your heart goes on to support Anna Hazare, and as well as the Jan Lokpal movement. Can you share some experiences with the IAC movement and how it influenced your life?
For me, the IAC movement is like a savior. I'm in the system and I know what are the problems. Earlier, I was only, a part-time observer of it, right? I would crib about things when I would meet other residents from Gurgaon, but that was my interaction with the system. Now I'm part of it, and I need tools like your Lokpal bill to bring that change that I'm talking about. So for me, I really desperately need it. I mean, people like me need it. So I have, I'm a very strong supporter of the IAC movement. The Gurgaon chapter, I'm very closely associated with them, and I don't find time to be part of every initiative, but they know they can bank on my support whenever they need it. Okay. And I go to all the meetings at Jantar Mantar. The last one also, I was right there and felt I was very encouraged to see the crowds that were there.
Yes.
And I think it's all reviving. It's all set to revive. The movement is set to revive, and you can see that people are waiting for its revival.
Very good, very good. And I'm just wondering, do you think this IAC movement had made these non-responsive Indians? As NRI, I'm a non-resident Indian, but we have non-responsive Indians there. Do you think IAC movement helped in making these non-responsive Indians come out and then vote and make it a part. Because BMC elections, I felt that it's pathetic. It's 38% turnout is so sad. You know, a lot of citizen centric people, a lot of people who believed in clean politics contested, and they didn't make it.
Yeah, it's really sad, but you know, I do think that the IAC movement has woken up people. It's given them a platform to voice their dissatisfaction. Whether it's translating yet to becoming an active part of the political system by either contesting. I think contesting also to a certain extent it is helping.
Right.
But you see, we're talking about a huge population here. We're talking about a huge system here. So
right.
It's not so visible yet. But definitely people are, I think, much better off than they were before the movement.
Very good, very good. So
the apathy has reduced.
Yeah. You have participated in IAC movement, and the whole NRI Samai came into limelight because we were actually working for Anna's movement, and we were reaching out to media outlets saying that there are people coming onto the streets and a lot of back and forth, and none of them coming forward to really care about what the voice of the people is. So NRI Samai is born on the lines of Anna's movement, and we were motivated at that point in time to come forward, and then rather than sensationalizing the whole concept of the media, we thought we have sensational people around us which we can just put forward to the people and then give them the right perspectives. So do you think being a part of IAC movement, getting involved with them, and then participating in all the events on ground, do you think it's time IAC movement transforms into a political movement?
Okay. You know, this is, I think, a difficult question in terms of what I think, you know, whether it's the right time to do this or not. I'm not too sure I have the right answer for this. I think it's a difficult question purely because still there are a whole lot of people who connected with this movement are so cynical about politics that their hearts would break if they thought that Kiran Bedi did this to contest an election. And somebody would like me would say, well, you know, good, because we need her or others like her to be in the system, in the political system.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, that's still not. I have a feeling that it doesn't connect with people. And what people are still not realizing, I think, completely is that politics is the most effective way to bring change. I mean, you might be working for an NGO and you could, you know, I always give this example because this thought came to my mind. I was in the education sector, education for underprivileged children, and I was associated with NGOs. And I say that I could go on and probably do, you know, a lot of good work and achieve a lot of results and get a lot of children educated. But think if I was the education minister, then the kind of influence I would have on the whole system is much more powerful.
Exactly.
You know, this is the crux of the whole thing. And every time the Anna move, even if somebody just remotely suggests that, you know, they should go and contest elections, it's like a huge thing.
Right. We have a caller right now, Nisha. Sorry to interrupt you. We have a caller right now. Sir, please go ahead with, can you please tell your name and the location where you're calling from? We have Nisha online.
Yeah, this is Raghuram from Atlanta. Nisha ji, good evening, I guess. I'm very glad that actually you chose this path. You know, it's very encouraging for us, for the guys who are thinking of it. Talking about this anti-corruption movement, I know we are all mobilizing civil societies and everybody's on the move to get something in the law prescribed at the national level. But I was wondering if there is any provision at the local level where the municipalities can do something. Say you, along with your colleagues over there, if you guys want to do something about the anti-corruption laws or something that you can handle in the municipality level, is that a possible, or that we don't have any powers on that and it has to come from the top-down level?
I think there are mechanisms. So like you have the vigilance department. Okay, every government department has a vigilance department. Similar, so MCG also has one. You can report any irregularity to about a government official to that function in that department. The problem, and there is also an anti-corruption law. The thing is that these are not functioning. They are pretty much just in paper. I mean, if I was to report, suppose I come across a definite case of corruption in MCG, and if I was to report it to the vigilance department, I haven't tried this. Maybe as a councillor, I might get some success. But any ordinary citizen, the complaint doesn't even get anybody to act. It's just not functional. The laws are there, but they're not functional. Many times people don't know they're taking the short path of actually bribing left, right, and center. People, educated, well-off people bribe the most. So they just take the easy way out, and not enough people are actually standing up against and trying to use these tools available as of now. With Lokpal bill, it has got so much of popularity, just like the way RTI has got. Probably people will use it more, just as people are using RTI quite effectively.
Okay. Yeah, my question was, like, you as a councillor, as a local municipality authority or kind of lawmaker, but you're saying you don't have any teeth in making a policy change at the local municipality level that could probably curb corruption at that level. Is that true?
Something like ombudsman. Something like
yeah,
ombudsman.
not like council individuals going, but you as a councillor, along with your ward colleagues, like other councillors, can bring a policy change for your municipality that will actually try to curb terrorism, at least, curb corruption, at least in your municipality level. I'm not sure if that's possible or not, that's allowed. So.
I'll answer that question. There are two answers to that. The one answer is that, unfortunately, in my colleagues' set, this does not ring as an important cause for them.
Okay.
Okay. Secondly, the municipalities, you're right, actually don't even have the teeth. So the decentralization that the 73rd and the 74th Amendment to the Constitution talk about, which is about giving more financial and other powers, policy-making powers to the bodies down below, has not happened. The municipal bodies are still, and the panchayats are still controlled very heavily by the state government. To the extent that it's suffocating. I mean, it's that bad. And no, I couldn't, even if I had the whole cabinet, the whole house with me of councillors wanting to do this, you couldn't get this through just in your city. The state government would have to do it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Raghuram Garu. So, Nisha, I have one other, seems like people are pondering on me right now. We have another person who just messaged me on Facebook. His name is Reddy. He's saying, Nisha said politics is not a profession to pursue. So how can young people come into politics full time?
Yeah, so that's the challenge, right? And that's why they're not coming. I mean, they can only come if you have a decent salary, there's so much to do, and there's the whole day you could be working, and still there'd be things that you need to do because because of the kind of job this is, or the kind of role this is.
Right.
But how do you run your house? How do you, feed yourself and your kids? This is a real question, and the answer to this is to actually give decent salaries so that decent people can take this up and still not have to worry about their expenses.
Yep. Very good, very good. So we have another listener, Archana Raghavan from New Jersey. So her question is, Nisha, how much have you changed as an individual since you embraced public life?
Yeah, Archana, I have actually changed quite a bit. I mean, I have developed skills which either were hidden all this while because I never needed to use them, or I just picked them up in the last 1 year. I am much more patient. I don't get, or I actually need to get better at that I don't get bogged down by the resistance that I face at times. I think I've developed on my leadership skills also, because I realized that people see me as a leader, and I have to have solutions for people, and it's almost like you will do what you say, So I have developed those skills as well. And what else? I think I'm just becoming a much better people's person. These are the key changes that have come to my in me. My what else?
Being patient. Wow, that's really nice to. It needs extreme patience to handle the ground realities. Yeah, we can really understand.
And another thing is you need to. I think another thing is you need to have the guts also. I think it's you need to challenge some of the status quo kind of situations, and it's you need a lot of grit. You don't face such situations in the corporate sector where you need to show your your grit at in this thing, but here you have to. And these challenges, some of the corruption kind of this thing. There was one case that we pursued a sanitation contractor who was getting paid 40 lakhs a month to clean up part of the city. And the guy was non-existent. Like there was 10% of the force that he was supposed to put, or the resources that he was supposed to put, that were being deployed, and the city was turning into a garbage dump.
Wow.
So to pursue these kind of cases and go after these kind of people. Of course, I had a team working on it. I had a retired IPS officer supporting me on this. We filed an RTI. There were other citizens who have who feel strongly about this and help me, but it requires a kind of I think a determination to.
Exactly. We have a question from another listener, because right now let's jump into this core issues that you're dealing with, Nisha. So we have a listener who's saying there are issues in Gurgaon slums, and how are you going to address them?
Gurgaon actually does not have slum areas. What Gurgaon has is encroachment. Gurgaon is still under construction. If any of your listeners have been here, a lot of construction is going on. So the labor that comes to work on these sites takes up their accommodation in sites which are encroached by the local gundas, I would say. So what they do is either they'll encroach a government land which is just lying vacant, or just open plots. There's still a lot of open area in Gurgaon which is not built out yet. and just build some jhuggies and then start charging rent for that. But they are not. They move from site to site. So if a site gets over in 2 years' time, then that cluster just goes away. We don't have slum areas which are slums designated as slums and stay there.
Wow.
And the challenges, of course, are the same if you like a slum area, because these jhuggies sometimes number 100 or more. So the sanitation of the place, there are no sewage lines, right? They are going out in the open. The drinking water, but within the system, because they're not even designated as slums yet, there's no provision to provide these facilities to them. I mean, I've tried to provide toilets, mobile toilets. It's still not come through. We are trying to do this at the city level, but that's
a great idea. Mobile toilets.
Challenge for not. Yeah.
That's a great idea. I've seen recent clippings on CNN IBN about a person who's basically, they're also from the corporate side, they're working on this mobile toilets. It's a fascinating story as well. So, yeah, that's a great idea. And Nisha, we have another listener who's talking about safety and security in the Gurgaon region and recent gang rape in Gurgaon. Why such barbaric activities are going on in such a high-tech place? What's going on there?
Yeah, so that's the sad truth of Gurgaon. It's getting more and more unsafe for a number of reasons. One is overall bad governance in the city, which means the traffic situation has improved a lot after our new DCC traffic came, Bharti Arora. She's done a fantastic job. So the traffic situation has improved, but generally there's bad governance, and so that leads to not enough policing. Even the police ratio is abysmal. It's 1/3 of what Delhi has. So if you have one policeman for 500 people in Delhi, then you have a policeman for 1,500 people in Gurgaon. So that's obviously, I mean, crime is directly related to the kind of policing you do in a city.
Wow.
And that's a big cause. And another big cause is that all the money that is flowing in the city. I mean, people are earning good salaries. So there's a culture of nightlife developing, but then there's a set of people who or gangsters or gundas who are also trying to become part of this nightlife and adding to the crime rate. Thefts are very common here.
Yeah, any significant measures, Nisha, on that front?
After the recent gang rape, the police department announced that they had actually already been working on increasing the police force. So apparently those people are in training right now. So that number, the police contingent in the city is going to increase very soon. That's what we are told. We don't have a public transport system. Can you beat that? Like Gurgaon doesn't have a public transport system. So that makes people unsafe automatically. The social development of the city has not happened. So, which means, things like public transport are very important for keeping the crime rate in check. Policing, very important in keeping the crime rate in check. Both these, public transport is completely missing. You either take your own private car or you take an auto, which is also not found very easily.
Wow, is it because of being Delhi and Haryana? Is it that Haryana is having less number of police, no public transportation? Is that the comparison that we can look at?
No, Haryana need not have such this thing. Haryana is a very well-doing state. They have a very good growth rate. There's a lot of funds that are getting generated. So the reason the authorities will tell you that Gurgaon has grown so fast that we just couldn't keep pace with its growth. Now that's the excuse they've been using for long, and it gets to me sometimes. But I think there is some truth in that. It's a city which is still growing, and the authorities are not able to keep pace with the growth.
Right. We have a caller. We have a caller right now. So please go ahead. Please tell your name and then your location, and then ask your question, please.
Hi Nisha ji, this is Srihari from Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us today and explaining your experiences as a young and new politician. So as my question is, we don't see a lot of women in politics, and not even the ones that are, they are because they're because of the woman quota, and the local politician is pushing his wife or daughter or somebody. But overall, I mean, what can you do with empowering women and making sure they are more stronger, come out either in politics or in social life?
Yeah, so you're right, Sridharan, when you say that the quota politics is not really working, because it's not actually the women who are taking these roles up. They're just the face most of the time. So quota is only at the local level. You must, I'm sure you know that. It's not at the state level, MLA level or the MP level. We have 50% at some places and 33% at all places, quota for women in the local governance. But it's just not working. It's all Parshad Patis, as we call them, the CPs who are actually running the show. So what can we do, and what can I do? I think this is tied up to the overall empowerment of women. I mean, barring the cities where women are educated well and are doing very well in the corporate sector, the other places the woman is not at par with the men. So they stay at home. They have a different set of duties. Economically, they are not at par either, because if they're not part of the workforce, then they are not, contributing to the income of the household, and then hence, without economic independence, you know that you'll never get that kind of stature in the house or in the family. So I mean, these are the issues that if addressed, will then address the shortage of women in politics. If they are, their education level goes up, they become part of the workforce, then they will automatically, more and more, I mean, of course they are becoming part of the workforce, but it's still, we're talking about India here, right? It's a huge country. Barring the cities, they are still seen as managing the home and nothing more. So that's the area that needs to be addressed, is developing work environment which is conducive for women, focusing on their education, the girl child education, providing scholarships or other kind of facilities, so that they can grow socially in their society, and then automatically they'll become part of every field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nisha, thank you, Srihari. You have any follow-up for that, Srihari?
Yeah, so any specific steps, because unless people take conscious effort, and because now you are in a more social life, more political life, any specific steps you are willing to take in your area, in your radius?
No, Sridhar, as of now I have not taken any specific steps. The municipal corporation also does not have the mandate in this area. The functions that municipal corporation take care of are mainly the civic infrastructure, though there is provision for municipal corporation schools, and also in the primary health sector, the corporations can and sort of take a role. But in Gurgaon, the corporation is also actually 1 year old. The last elections were just the first elections of the corporation. So these are functions that the corporation has not gone into. So as of now, I haven't taken any concrete steps. But the steps that, again, would need to be taken even at this level would be about increasing the education levels and then employability.
Thank you, Srihari. Thank you, Srihari. Thank you, Nisha, for answering that question. And we have been talking about goondas and antisocial elements. Any threats, Nisha, on that front?
No.
That's really scary. You know, good people coming into politics itself is like the biggest boon or the luck of the people there. So then dealing with these antisocial elements, it feels sad if you're facing some threats on that front. I'm happy. As well, all our listeners should be happy.
There's nothing. In fact, it's I think it's a misconception that that it's also. I mean, okay, some people do a dirty job of it, but as such, if you want to be clean, I get a lot of respect and I get a lot of support from people all around me. And it's not really true that there's a threat to your life or to your to your safety if you take up politics. On the contrary, how many politicians do you really see getting attacked or getting it's actually I think the safest way to bring change also. Not only the most effective way.
Exactly. Because the worry is you're dealing with. I've seen your March 6th statement on the liquor problem that in this 150-meter radius of educational institutions and hospitals, there's liquor shops and then people drinking around that shop, creating nuisance. And then you wanted to go ahead and then.
I've gone to the court for that. Yeah. See, the method. I'm not going and interacting with liquor vendors or I've gone to the court. It's a public interest litigation. Let the court decide. And when the decision comes, it will apply to everybody. It won't be targeting one single person. It will be So
that's a good way to deal with the problems. And what's the status on this? You've been dealing with the DS constructions and the toll plaza, which is literally it's called a toll plaza, but it's taking toll on the people. So people are suffering, and the traffic is jammed for almost a few kilometers there. And to ease that, they have all come up with some solutions. And surprisingly, after 3 months, you receive a bill of close to 3 lakhs. For payment. What happened on that front? What's going on?
The traffic police received the payment, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Traffic police received the payment.
Yeah. So the traffic police, it's actually funny because there was since then things have improved on the toll plaza. But there was a time when all these things were at a peak. Is that you were spending almost 20 minutes trying to get through the toll plaza.
Right.
And what the traffic police said was that this is just playing and havoc on to all the other roads that connect to this main road. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just ask you to open up the gates if the line increases beyond this much. The toll plaza people opened up the gates, but then they went back to the contract and said, well, we don't need to do this, and so here is the bill for you for the loss that we incurred. So this is their way of functioning. It's so funny.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. That's one thing that even I have realized, that you have to design your contract well, if you want anything out of a sanitation contractor or a road contractor or a contractor which is a national highway builder like the DSC. So things are not very clear there about their responsibilities. What if tomorrow there's a 1-hour line, is the DS construction still going to, hold people, ask them to wait for an hour, and because their, revenues are important. So these things are not clear in that contract. It's not a contract which has been designed well. So when you don't have a contract that is designed well, you have these problems because on one side there are people who are, suffering, and on the other side, the other guys will not take responsibility for it, and you're stuck.
Right. Very well said. And we have almost reached close to an hour, or even we crossed an hour. Nisha Singh, it's really a great honor to have you on our show today, and I'm sure you've motivated a lot of our listeners around the world coming to this online radio. So I just wanted to let you know that as NRI Samay, we are always open. Any messages, any kind of help or anything that you would need, we are always there, and we would propagate the message from our side. We recently did a show with a CNN hero who, his name is Narayanan Krishnan, who works for destitute people who are uncared from the society, mentally ill people, and then he's been giving them, providing thrice food each day from past 2002. It's been 10 years he's been giving them food thrice a day, and we basically interviewed him on NRI Samay, and we requested him to visit Los Angeles, and he came to Los Angeles. We could do our part to Mr. Narayanan Krishnan. So please, if you have anything going forward, if you have anything, just let us know, and then we'll try to propagate the message in whatever way possible from our side. And thank you very much for coming to our show.
Thank you.
Any last message to our NRI friends? Wanted to let them know how they could contribute.
Yeah, I think, being connected with the country and being connected with the issues is what you're trying to do anyway through your radio channel. I think that's very important because, someday you might want to come back and be part of the political system or contribute in any other way. So it's good to it's important to remain in touch, and also through the online community to support the causes that are going on in the country, which I think the ISE movement received a lot of support.
Yes.
So that's a great way to do your bit sitting there.
Right.
So, and thank you very much for having me on the show. It was really a pleasure talking to all your listeners.
Thank you, Nisha.
And
thank
an opportunity to express myself.
Yes, thank you very much, Nisha. It's really late in the night. I really appreciate all your efforts on this front, coming to the radio channel and talking to our listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Friends, that's all about today's show, and we had Nisha Singh, a fascinating woman, very well educated, a public servant by choice, and a person who's treating politics as a noble profession and serving the citizens in Gurgaon. She is right now the councillor from Ward number 30, Municipal Corporation of Gurgaon, and having such an interesting background, schooling in Delhi Public School, engineering in electronics from Mumbai University, and she being an NRI, non-resident Indian, having her MBA degree.
Friends, that was a great show from Nisha Singh and Srikanth Kochalkuta. So please come back next Saturday. Next Saturday we are discussing about upbringing of the children and new parents counseling. Vishaka ji will be live with us, and our host will be Sneha. So please join us back next week. Thank you.
దిగ్గదీసి అడుగు ఈ సిగ్గులేని జనాన్ని అగ్గితోటి కడుగు ఈ సమాజ జీవోత్సవాన్ని మారదు లోకం మారదు కాలం దేవుడు దిగిరాని ఎవ్వరు ఏమైపోని మారదు మారదు లోకం మారదు కాలం. కాలిబాటు గమనానికి కాలిబాట దేనికి, కొర్రెదాటు మందకి నీ జ్ఞానబోధ దేనికి. ఏ చరిత్ర నేర్చుకుంది పచ్చని పాఠం, ఏ క్షణాన మార్చుకుంది చిత్తుల మార్గం. రామబాణ మార్పిల్దా రావణ కాష్టం, కృష్ణ గీతా పిల్దా నిత్య కురుక్షేత్రం. నెగ్గదీసి అడుగు ఈ సిగ్గులేని జనాన్ని, అగ్గితోటి కడుగు ఈ సమాజ జీవోత్సవాన్ని. మారదు లోకం మారదు కాలం. పాతరాతి గుహలు పాలరాతి గృహాలైనా, అడవి నీతి మారిందా ఎన్ని యుగాలైనా. వేట అదే వేటు అదే నాటి కథే అంతా, నట్టడవులు నడి వీధికి నడిచొస్తే వింత. బలవంతులే బ్రతకాలని సూక్తి మరవకుండా, శతాబ్దాలు చదవలేద ఈ అరణ్యకాండ. అడిగ్గదీసి అడుగు ఈ సిగ్గులేని జనాన్ని, అగ్గితోటి కడుగు ఈ సమాజ జీవోత్సవాన్ని. మారదు లోకం మారదు కాలం, దేవుడు దిగిరాని ఎవరు ఏమైపోని. మారదు లోకం మారదు కాలం.